Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Dinier coming back at you with another live video. It's Monday, and usually on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go for the Superpower Hour, but today is a bit different. I'm trying to catch up on comic book reviews, and I'm very excited for this live stream today because today we're going to be breaking down TMNT, The Last Ronin, and we're going to be also giving it a review. Man, I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this book because this is just has been a fantastic series from the get-go. And this story also has a bunch of people pumped. I am not alone today. I am joined by a good friend of mine from the YouTube comic book community, and he's making his second appearance on the channel today. So that's also very exciting because I get to hang out with him one more time. He is a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, so having him on the live stream today is just absolutely perfect. So I want to introduce my buddy, Adrian, Pandawesome316. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me on this live stream to give this book a review.
Absolutely. Any chance I get to talk about turtles, man, that's my jam, man.
Jump on it. Jump on it.
Jump on it.
No, thank you so much. I can't wait to get into it. But before we get into it and break down this issue, I want to remind the people who are watching today, first of all, thank you to everybody who is jumping on here to give this a watch. But I want to let you guys know to please smash that like button if you like anything that me and my guests have to say about this book. Comment some feedback in the comment section down below if you're watching this on the rewind, or let us know in the chat what you thought about this issue. And lastly, if you guys are new here to the channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button for future comic book reviews and other great content. Now, I also want to tell about the people about the 2,000 subscriber giveaway I got going on right now. There's a link to that video and how to enter in this video's description down below. I'm going to be giving away a Spawn number 1 CGC graded at a 9.4 along with 4 other books. 2 of them happen to be remarked and signed by me, so it makes it a little bit more special. And I also want to tell the people that if this live stream has 25 viewers at any point in time during this live stream, I will add another 2 raw books to the giveaway. So make sure you guys tell the people that Superpower Review is live right now with Pandawesome316. Give it a watch. Let's get this live stream to 25 people, and I'll add to the giveaway. So that's pretty much it. Also, the other thing too, one last thing. I'm sorry, I lied. If you guys go in this video's description down below, make sure you follow my guest, Adrian Pandawesome316, on his YouTube channel. So make sure you guys go click on that subscribe button. You can do it right now. We'll be right here when you get back. So, all right, man, let's jump right into it because, like I said, this issue was really exciting. And so on New Comic Book Day, right? I'll probably pick up like maybe one book a week. You know what I mean? I don't pick up a lot of books. Last week I picked up 2 books. I had to pick up King in Black and this one. And I have to say, if I had to compare the two, which one was the better book, this one, in my opinion, was my favorite. This one was my favorite of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally 100% agree with you. Last Thursday, Burke had his Thursday night chat, and he talked about, usually when we do stuff, like we show off what we picked up. I picked up King in Black. I picked up Thor. I picked up X-Men Legends #1. I picked up Once in Future. But there's only one book that I showed off, and that had to be that Last Ronin, because that's all that mattered to me. Because
of course,
out of all the stories that I read, man, Last Ronin was probably the best one for me. Thor was right there. I mean, close second, but man, this was the story of the week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a great book, great series, and man, I really hate that I have to wait so long just to get another issue.
Yeah,
for real. Why does it take so damn long? I just want to highlight some of the people who are watching today and who are with us. We have Legion of Comics saying, "What is up, Panda?" Hashtag We Are Legion. We got Les Cruces 1971. How you doing, man? We got my buddy Alex, Tapia's Family Unlimited. Comic Vatos. What's up? We have Les Cruces all the way from New Mexico. Austin LeMay, how you doing, man? How's it going? Thank you so much for jumping in. We have Slotted Up 503. What's up, Turtle fans? How you doing, man? We have James over at MJ Comics, my good buddy. We got K Titus all the way from the Rising Sun, Japan. Saruka. Let's see. Nice video today. Hey, thanks. And Nerdy Couch, how's it going, guys? Thank you so much for jumping in. Really appreciate all of the love and support that the channel is getting right now. Who else we have? Rocks. We got Rock City Comics. Hey, all good day for a stream. Yes, it is. It's Monday. What a way to break up the horrible Mondays, the bad case of the Mondays, right? And have a live stream. We have Cardboard Crazies. What's going on, man? How it do? We do it. That's how we do it. We do it. And we have Louis 13th. What's up? A couple more people. We got Kenneth Bird. How you doing, man? And we have Simple Simon. Hey, man, all the way from Australia. All right, so let's get into it, man. Let's break it down. So this issue starts off with April O'Neil waking up out of her bed. We're seeing her shedding some tears and crying. And then we go sort of back into this flashback where April O'Neil and Casey are setting up for dinner because they invited their family and hence the Turtles, and they're going to be telling the Turtles some pretty important news. They're going to be telling them that they're going to get married, and then they're late and they're kind of getting worried about them, like, hey, like, where are these guys? Like they're not usually this late, but comes in crashing in Raphael all bloodied, and something bad has happened. There has been a sort of a there has been sort of like an ambush, and the Turtles came out of their manhole cover, out of the sewers, and there was an ambush with the Foot Clan, and the Foot Clan was trying to kill the Turtles. So we find like this whole piece of information about this truce that the Turtles had with the Foot Clan. What did you think about that?
Man, it sounded like something that Master Splinter had to, enough with the fighting. He's always been about peace and only using, force when needed. I also thought that, the dinner that they were having, which to me looked like a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
With as much of a spread as they had, so if you think about it that way, to be ambushed during a holiday, you know what I mean? Usually there's a lot of peace and truce during holidays because they're observed by other people. I know during like Ramadan and stuff like that, there's usually a ceasefire, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of days of rest. And so that's what I felt like was going on, was that they were having a Thanksgiving dinner. And so to be ambushed during a holiday when, you think about family and you think about gathering with friends and doing all that, and then to have them be ambushed on that particular day, I mean, I thought that added just a little bit more weight to it because of the nature of, being with family.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I thought that was something, the truce was something that I didn't see coming. Honestly.
Me neither. I think that was such a huge change because, of course, we're always so used to the Turtles battling up with the Foot Clan and, just being enemies for life. You know what I mean? So reading about the truce kind of made my head turn while reading, like, what truce? Like, what's this about? You know what I mean?
Right. And so, to me, I kind of wanted to know more about this truce. Like, what was all said about the truce? Are the Foot, doing their nefarious plans? And the Turtles aren't supposed to get in their way. Like, what were all the stipulations of the truce?
Right.
You don't get in my way, I don't get in your way. Let's just let bygones be bygones for a while. Like, I don't know. I really wanted to know more about that truce because it just seemed like an important, like an integral part of this story.
Yeah. And so I want to know more about it too, and maybe with the other issues that are going to be coming out with the 3 more issues. So we had a question how many issues this is in the series. There are 5 issues in the series, so hopefully with the other 3 issues we can find out a little bit more about this truce. I mean, so all the Turtles are dead, as we all know, right? And so this one really focuses on the death of Raphael, and I'm kind of we can always go back too because I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit here. But I think in the near future too, with the other three issues, I think we're also going to be constantly told a story on how a turtle died. Maybe, I don't know.
I can see it as to where one of the issues, like there's going to be a combined death, like Leo and Donatello both fall in the same issue. I don't think they're going to do it, issue by issue, but it looks like the next issue shows us the fallout of Casey Jones. Did he survive the big blast that they were talking about at the end?
Right.
And if so, how long did he last? Or
Right.
did he have a hand in, because there's that other thing, April gave birth to her daughter, right? So does that mean during this dinner she was pregnant at the time as well?
Right.
Or did Casey survive somehow and, some years later they had a child?
Yeah, right.
And it makes me wonder.
Yeah, so I think maybe Casey would probably. I mean, it looks like mostly everybody died in the blast. I mean,
Right.
could have that, like, again, could have Casey Jones survived? Maybe, and we haven't heard yet. I don't know, but yeah, there's just a lot going on with this issue. There's a lot of good Easter eggs too. You know what I mean? And we'll talk a little bit more about the end as well. But so Raphael comes in. We have Splinter dying pretty much. He looks all beat up and banged up. And then they get worried about Leo because Leo is kind of left behind, and they're trying to get Leo back. And so Casey and Raph, of course, are ready to just go out there and look for him. But Leo comes back, and he's like, "No, I had to make sure you guys were okay." Like. And but of course, Raph, being the way he is, doesn't miss a beat and just goes out there, seeing red as always, revengeful, and just wants to go mess stuff up. This was probably one of the craziest scenes, in my opinion, and this is everything that I want to see in a Raphael, in my honest opinion. I mean, him him just going on a rampage, dude. All the action, the blood, and the violence that is in this scene is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and that just reminded me of the comic series back in Image. It was a 4-part miniseries with Casey Jones and Raphael called Body Count. And man, that was bloody and gory. And it just reminded me of that just because of the way that he's tossing foot soldiers left and right. Like he's tearing through them. Yeah. His father, like he believes his father is now dead. And so he wants to get revenge on the people that have done this to him. And man, if anything like that happened to me and I had that hot temper like Raphael did, I'd be tearing through some foot soldiers too. Like he was tossing them like they were rag dolls, like they were nothing.
Right.
But man, they ended up getting the better of him. Spears coming out of nowhere, shurikens coming in and being embedded into a shell, and swords and spikes are going everywhere. But man, the adrenaline that is going through him is still forcing him to go forward, even with all this stuff, being pierced into his body. Right. I mean, it was crazy.
He's super resilient, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you had, Karai, who looked just like Elektra.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That was a good thing that you said there, because I was about to say the same thing. I was like, dude, like, what's up, Karai, looking like Elektra?
Exactly. I think that just gives a little bit more of a ninja status to her. You know what I mean? Giving her that kind of outfit. I mean, it's something that's synonymous with Elektra. She looks, the colors, everything is just screams Elektra. And Elektra, we know, is an assassin, right? So I think they did that on purpose. I don't think that it was anything like a character design where they're like, oh, I didn't even notice the similarities. Like, I'm pretty dang sure like that was, that was intentional. So, but yeah, like, I have to agree with Steve. Like, I did not see Raphael being, ended in the hands of Karai under the water like that. That was very, very emotional. And just that one splash page of that Sai going down, like there's no word bubbles or anything inside that page, but it spoke so much volume to the death scene there. And it was just, man, it really did, tug at the heartstrings there.
Yeah, for sure. It really did. Throughout the series, I thought like we were definitely going to see an origin story of what happened with the turtles and why Michelangelo is the only one that's left. But to have like this whole highlighted scene with Raph, I mean, I think a good majority of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans gravitate toward Raph. You know what I mean? I think that's like one of the Turtles fan favorite. I don't know. That's just how I see it. But I like what you said here with, how Raph went out, no bubbles. It was just like, it was deep. It was dark. It was definitely a good way of having that death scene, because it really makes you go beside yourself and just like, man, like Raph is gone. Like he's out for the count.
Yeah, the weight of that knowledge now, like we're so used to reading these stories where the turtles come out unscathed. Well, maybe not unscathed, but they also make it out. Like there was the IDW run, Donatello ended up dying, but he was fine afterwards. And even in such stories like urban legends, Donatello's like more mech than anything else. He's like a cyborg. From the DC universe in that storyline. But these turtles always come back. So when I saw that Sai sinking, it was just like, it was that knowledge was really sinking in that, man, this story is all about not having the other turtles. And this is it. Like, we're not going to see Raph anymore. Like,
yeah,
that to me was crazy.
I think too, in a way, I mean, if Raphael had any idea what was about to come with the explosion, I think he would have rather gone out on that in that way instead of being blown up. You know what I mean? Like if he's gonna go, he's gonna want to go with while fighting. You know what I mean? And like taking out as many people as he possibly can. Because to him, I think that's fitting for him for an honorable death.
Yeah, and this totally spoke to his character, like being the hot-headed one, the lone wolf, him going out and fighting the whole Foot Clan all by himself and taking out damn near half of them. I mean, that really spoke volumes on his character. Like, that's who he's always been. And I honestly think this was a fitting death for Raphael, not to die in some sort of explosion,
right?
But to die this way, fighting and taking out as many people as he can.
Right. Yep. And just relieving his anger as much as he can too. Yeah, I totally agree with that 100%, man. I think that was hit right on the head of the nail. So like while April O'Neil is having a flashback and we're seeing this whole death of Raph, we also see Donatello waking up out of his bed. He goes and starts making some tea, and then his brothers are around him. You want to talk a little more about this scene here?
Oh yeah, it was Michelangelo that ended up waking up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did I say Raph?
No, you said Donatello.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm trying to multitask. It's not as easy. No, just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah, Michelangelo. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh man, to me, this one was a lot of, Mikey talking to his own consciousness, but through his brothers. So this way, it's a lot easier to digest. Maybe he can still get mad at himself, but he's mad at what his brothers are saying. But it's really him that's saying it on the inside, right? With Raphael saying, well, at least I didn't try to off myself with, the first miss I got.
Yeah.
So, him getting that emotional over something like that, like, he had one mission and the first chance that it didn't go his way, like he was about to end it.
Yeah.
And so I think he was just really disappointed in himself. And it just takes a really good look at the way that Michelangelo has been coping. Once we get into that flashback scene where we get the Mikey talking about how he was in the mountains, like I want to see more of what happened within those years, because I mean, you see how old and weathered April is. So a lot of years have gone by. April's daughter, Casey, she's got to be in her 20s.
Yeah, right.
So for as long as he's lived, he's probably lived in those mountains just as long.
Yeah, correct. So and I think so too. Yeah.
Right. What has he been doing this whole time? And who has he been able to talk to? I think this is a broken psyche, and it just shows to see how broken he is because of the events and the trauma that has gone on, those years prior. So,
I
and
think it's
plus,
definitely safe to say that Michelangelo is suffering from PTSD.
oh, absolutely. This
Yeah.
is definitely something that, something that he is definitely suffering from. I mean, he's talking to objects that aren't there, or people that aren't there. People that are his now subconscious.
Hmm.
They're telling him the things that he doesn't want to hear, but he's doing it in the style of his brothers. I mean, you don't do that unless you've been doing that for years.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So, like, I think maybe we'll see Michelangelo maybe flashback about Into the Mountains, maybe, or maybe this is all what we'll get in this issue. Who knows? But I mean, it took him a long time to, go back because he said he did some training and he did some thinking and so like he tried dying so many times because he said like I'm not used to being in the cold. I've seen pictures of the snow, but being a reptile I couldn't handle it. Like I thought I was going to die there. Who knows how long I was even there for. What I mean? I think he was actually there for like a whole winter. Like I think a whole like season has passed like through like a winter where like spring came. Maybe that's when he woke up when the weather started getting a little bit warmer. I don't know, but yeah, I think that whole part was interesting. There was a cool comment here. Here it is. Did you notice the Eastman and Laird cameo? Did you notice that?
Yes, absolutely. That is the page that I was going to talk about next. As you guys can see, there is
Oh,
those guys on the subway, and it also calls back to the 1990 movie when Raphael goes above that taxi cab, and the guy inside is like, "Did you see that? It looked like a giant turtle in a trench coat." It's like, "Yeah, you still trying to go to LaGuardia?" Fun fact: I think the guy that was there, the one that was a passenger, was actually the voice of Raphael in the movie.
okay.
So
All
I
right.
thought that was a really cool callback. But I just think that it's awesome that we saw that Eastman and Laird in the subway, and it's got Eastman with his little stash and everything, and his curly hair all back.
Yeah, back from
I
back
thought
in
that
the
was,
day. I didn't
yeah.
catch that at first. So I'm glad that Count Von Strange brought that up, and I'm glad that you were going to bring that up too. Let's see, Kate Terry's. How are the pages in the book? Very colorful or more story? I found that some of the newer comics are just more pictures. I mean, I don't know, man. I think maybe you should just stay here and find out what I give this book for a review and what Adrian is going to give this for a review too. Maybe that can help you decide. Also, does it seem odd to you at this point the story that his brothers are always with him, but Splinter is not? That's also a really good catch here.
Okay, and that was also another thing because when you were saying that, I made sure to say that Raphael thinks that his father is dead.
Yeah.
Now, there is no confirmation that he died right on April's table. He's just in his head. He's already dead.
Hmm.
He's lost so much blood. There's no way he's coming back from this. With the way that April's been talking about Splinter and his injuries, like he's already got in his head that he's dead. So now
Yeah.
he's going to make everybody else pay. Now there wasn't any confirmation that he was actually dead. So that just makes me think that, with it being the last Ronin, I don't know, maybe Splinter died of old age. I don't know. Maybe he died of his injuries way later. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Right. Pretty interesting. That's see these are some things that some of the out of the box things that I don't think about sometimes. Like I didn't catch the Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, and I didn't also notice that Master Splinter is not showing up with these premonitions or these psychic episodes that Michelangelo's having with his PTSD. You know what I mean? We got John's Comics with kids in the house. What's going on? Let's see. Count Von Strange. I feel like Splinter may not be dead, only not to mention his death was Raph, and he was actually gone before he so-called passed away.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
That's yep.
I think
Let's
Doctor
see.
Strange and I are thinking alike, very much alike.
We should see. Count. If I would have known you were available, I would have got you on here too, man. I don't mean to be a critic hater, but I feel like I'm the only person who has been underwhelmed by Last Ronin, just not feeling a lot of passion for this book. Wow, wow.
Wow,
I
hot take, hot take.
hot take. We all have our opinions and takes on things. I mean, I feel like that happens to me a lot when people like absolutely like a majority of people absolutely love something. And I'm just like, I don't see what people are seeing this, but that
Right.
happens sometimes. I'm a huge TMNT fan. LOL. I immediately knew it was Eastman and Laird. Yeah, I'm surprised that actually went by me like that fast. Like it just went right over my head. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I've read this 4 times already, so I've taken the time to actually like look over. Like I've tried looking at the Easter eggs, like with April waking up in her bed, and they show all the things that are around her. You can see
all the
those
Easter
prosthetic
eggs.
hands and the legs and all the other mechanics that are around her, and you're just like, wow, like I
Yeah.
didn't catch it before when I read it until I saw her putting her stuff on, and I was just like, wow.
Right. So this was today was the second time I read it. I've read it the first time when it came out, and I read it one more time just before the show, just to kind of like freshen up and make sure that I had everything. But clearly, I did not. I did miss a few things. So like, how do you feel like all of the feelings Michelangelo's having when like his brothers are just like talking to him, because like he just like almost sort of makes peace like with everything that they're saying. Like obviously he doesn't like everything that they're saying because he throws the teapot and then a flashback happens and it was just all in his head and like everything is just fine, you know what I mean? So like, do you feel like that kind of brings a little more comfort where he's like, no pun intended, well maybe pun intended, he's coming out of his shell a little more, and he's being a tougher turtle. It's not fun in games or party time like Michelangelo is used to. You know what I mean?
Right. And it just goes to show like how much he's really grown up. And I mean, when you think of the Turtles, you don't really think of Mikey as an introspective one to really think about his feelings. Like he just wants to have a good time and have everybody else join him in that good time.
Yeah.
But to see him actually like think about these situations and take an in-depth look into his actions, and then have his brothers tell him about his actions, like it just goes to show how much he's second guessing a lot of himself, and how much he's actually trying to learn from it as well. But I mean, it just seems like he's so much more focused, more than anything.
Right. And like, so like everything that's been going on with Mikey, the character development with this series has just been amazing. I'll never forget when Ronin wasn't out yet and we're all speculating about who the last turtle could have been. And my last choice was Michelangelo. I did not want this to be Michelangelo. You know what I mean? I knew you wanted it to be Michelangelo.
Yes.
I know that very well. But having it be Michelangelo now, it's just perfect. It's so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like I said, seeing this turtle go from a party dude to, this serious turtle, this turtle that has severe PTSD, has gone through so much trauma, and is trying to become a better turtle. He's trying to cram all of this knowledge, all this martial arts knowledge into his head with, learning every single weapon and every single martial arts move he possibly can just to make himself better and complete the mission and bring back honor to his family.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I thought it was more fitting. I always thought it was more fitting that it'd be Michelangelo because, when you talk about Eastman and Laird, the first thing they did was try to make each other laugh. And so they drew, some things. And I think it was Eastman that started it. Yeah. And he ended up drawing this turtle that had nunchucks on his arms. And then Laird ended up doing his own rendition. So their very first turtle that they ever drew was Michelangelo. So I thought, how fitting would it be for the last turtle to actually be the first turtle that they ever drew?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Here is a good comment from Austin. The biggest disappointment with Last Ronin has been the release schedule, for sure, man. For sure. I mean, like I said in the live stream before already, like I can't believe I have to wait so long just for another issue. Like,
Yeah, our next issue is scheduled to be out in May. Now we know that they've been pushing things back. They pushed out, the release of issue 2.
mhm.
So it was just, who knows that they're going to push it back even more. Who knows that this issue is actually going to conclude in 2021 is what I'm saying.
It's a possibility that it could not actually. Like this could definitely bleed over into 2022, and I am expecting that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you that if you think this was going to wrap up in 2021, but I really don't think it will. Seems like they hinted at him still mutating as well. Yes, and that was the next section I wanted to talk about because, April O'Neil wakes up out of bed. We got Michelangelo making tea, and so this is when these characters kind of get to have a sit down a little bit and talk about each other. Now, Michelangelo mentions that he's surprised that he's not dead from that fall from issue 1, where he should have been dead, especially being older. He even mentions that if that was his younger self, he definitely would have been dead. And so April O'Neil brings up to the fact that, like you're even healing a lot faster too. Like you should not be out of bed. So what do you think is what's going on? This is a whole other thing that's happening with the series that we have to kind of keep our mind on or our eye on, that Michelangelo's mutation is getting stronger. So what do you think is up with that?
I think it had to do with a lot of what he went through in the mountains. Like just like a flower that has to, survive in the winter, putting out its spores and then regrowing back in, or, shedding a lot of its leaves and then just leaving the stem. So this way it can die a little, but still stay alive and then rebloom back in the spring. It just feels
man, that was beautiful. That was poetic, man. Holy cow. That meant something to me. Now I feel like a changed person from this live stream.
But that's how I feel like that's what's ended up happening, was that all the injuries that he had from the fight, that last fight that we're leading up to, I feel like that's what he went to the mountains for, was to heal. And he healed, came back bigger, came back stronger. And his mutation allowed him to evolve a little bit, because he's not supposed to be able to survive in those cold winters like that. In New York, it doesn't stay cold forever. Right. You know what I mean? In the mountains, it's a whole different story. I mean, they go through seasons that bears hibernate in the mountains.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just the winter. I mean, they're gone the fall, winter, and then, half of spring before spring is, done. That's when they wake up. And I feel like that's what ended up happening with Michelangelo, is that, during that time, something happened where his mutation just mutated just a little bit. It evolved, and we still don't understand, all the things that happened when they mutated. Like, is this their last form? Like, I hate to think about it like Dragon Ball Z, but this may not be his final form. You know what I mean?
This is even my final form. Yeah, no, I agree there. And like, so Count Von Strange brought up it represents hibernation, and I said that sort of in the beginning of the live stream, that he said that he wasn't able to take the snow, and he doesn't know how long he was there for. Like, it could have been days, weeks, or even longer. And again, Count, I think this is a whole time period of him just hibernating, and he didn't wake up till maybe like springtime. So that's just my take and my guess on it. So they having sort of like a convo together, and and then we see more like flashbacks of them remembering the fight here. But they were talking about how his mutation getting stronger. He's still saying that he's having a hard time remembering things, which is also a sort of a trait of PTSD, or a symptom. And then so she kind of brings over Casey. She's making breakfast, she's making eggs, and she calls over Casey, and he's like, "What? Like, Casey's still alive?" This was a shock to him, but I think as readers already knew that it was going to be the daughter, because we saw her, like a glimpse of her in the first issue. But and you mentioned that this girl here, Kate, April O'Neil's daughter, is like in her 20s here. So like, again, a lot of time has passed. You can see the age on April O'Neil, you can see the age on Michelangelo. So do you think, what do you think about this character? What do you think about Casey Marie Jones? Do you think she's a cool character? Do you think she's going to be a cool character?
I think right now, I think they're setting her up to be an integral part of his last plan, especially with the conversation that they were having with each other. She's talking to him like she's talking to a mythical creature that she's only heard about in stories.
Yeah.
And to finally meet one face to face, she's got so many questions. And, she's pretty much modeled her life after the Turtles. Mm-hmm. She talks about training in their old dojo and doing all the things that she could learn from, especially from some journals that she found.
All self-taught.
Yeah, and all self-taught. Like, she was talking about doing kendo and doing all that stuff. And, you know all about that stuff because you study a lot of martial arts.
I do.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's
you Karate Kevin for nothing, right?
That's right. No, this is one of the things that, of course, gravitates me toward the Turtles is the martial arts background. You know what I mean? So, like, that's one of my favorite things about it too, is the training and, especially with like Leo being sort of the humble one and trying to be like the righteous leader and always trying to make the right decision. You know what I mean? So I think that's what really gravitates me toward the Turtles. And of course, 90% of it nostalgia.
Yeah. So for her, like, she just seems like the Karate Kid. Like, have you seen Cobra Kai?
I have not. No, everyone tells me I got to go watch it, but I have. You
should. There's 2 seasons of it now, so it'd be good to, that. Yeah, that's absolutely.
I just got to mutate first. That's all. This is a pretty good comment right here. Casey's just a supporting character for me right now. I have zero emotional attachment to her at this point. Yep, same.
See, and this is where I kind of differ because it just seems like they're setting her up as to where, Michelangelo is going after one particular mission, and that's to get honor back to his family. After that, he doesn't care what happens to him.
Right.
Now, with her talking to Michelangelo, like I said, it just feels like that Karate Kid kind of feel, except he's on a suicide mission here. And so it just kind of feels like she's going to take the mantle after he's gone. And I do believe we will see the death of Michelangelo at the end of this series.
For sure. Yeah. I think he's going to, go out with the mission, but he's definitely going to die trying, I think. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I feel like, we've got the next wave here. She talks about already having a group of people that she's with. They call it the resistance, right?
Yeah.
And so she's already got a group with her. It, like I said, it just seems like they're setting her up to be the next,
group of heroes for New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now I want to point out some things here. Okay. So like in my last review for TMNT, The Last Ronin #1, I wasn't the only one to say this. But after reading this series, there's a lot of Dark Knight Returns feels from this. You have a character who's out of his prime, trying to accomplish the inevitable, and doesn't care if he dies trying while doing it. You know what I mean? So here is another thing that I see that is very similar to The Dark Knight Returns. If I can add to this, I see, Michelangelo, he was picked up by, a younger girl who is, much younger than the main character.
Right.
We saw this as Carrie Kelly in The Dark Knight Returns. She's the one that picks up Batman. In this story, it's Michelangelo, and brings him to a lair, and she gets to see all the stuff, and she's showing them around. So I think this is another huge similarity with The Dark Knight Returns. What do you think about that?
Yeah, in fact, a lot of the covers that they tried to do, well, it's all going to tie in somewhere, right? A lot of the covers they tried doing, I know they had some ones that were put on the chopping block or put in the back because they look too much like the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
right. The only one to survive was the Eastman 1 in 10, where it's got the lightning background and he's got his kendo sticks and stuff like that. That's the only homage that you can see, but you can tell there are a lot of callbacks and a lot of references to the Dark Knight Returns and everything in this. Even the feel of it feels like it.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad the artwork is not too much like it. As good as I thought the artwork was in Dark Knight, I'm just really glad that that's not what we get in The Last Ronin.
Yeah, Eastman and Laird based the 80s TMT stories off of Frank Miller's Daredevil, so it makes sense that it has Frank Miller Dark Knight feel. Yeah, totally. And with Kevin Eastman being a huge Daredevil fan and having Frank Miller who worked on Daredevil, it all kind of bleeds in with each other and sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's get back into breaking it down, and then we'll get into likes and dislikes, and we'll get into a review. There's a part where we see Haruku fighting his guards, and pretty much says that he wants to do a huge sweep of the city to try to find the last mutant. And we also get this talking about how New York is divided into 3 different districts, and they're part of Rock Bottom, which Rock Bottom is part of the Resistance. We touched base on that a little bit already, so we think that we already said that she's going to pretty much teach the people of Rock Bottom, and they could be the next gang. And then we kind of go into the dojo here, and still Casey is just so shocked to be with this legend. She hears so much about the turtles and she's so happy. And there was a part where she says in here, she's like, something all along the lines like, hey, you're Michelangelo, you're supposed to be the funny one, right? Yeah. And I really like this line because, again, when I read it, I was like, yeah, not anymore. He's not that anymore. This is a whole different turtle. So that was another thing that we touched up on. And then she goes on saying that she was, self-taught. We get the flashback of him being in the mountains. And I think it's safe to say we can go to the end here. And unless there's something I'm missing that you want to touch base on.
No, absolutely. No, I feel like there's a lot of holes in the mountain. Like I said, I really want to revisit that just because, like any good 80s and 90s movie, you love to see the montage, right? You know what I mean? Rocky training to try to beat Apollo.
Yeah.
You love seeing the montage, and that's what that felt like for me. Was it's a callback to Eastman's way of drawing and telling the story of the turtles, and we only had 5 pages of it?
Yeah, about that.
6? Something like that,
And did you like that Kevin Eastman made a guest appearance and doing the artwork here?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just getting that gritty feel of the way that he used to draw. For those that didn't know what the turtles were from before, you get a taste of it now for the generation that is now reading it. And it felt so awesome to call it back. And that's why I want to revisit it more, is because there's so much more to those years that we didn't see. How did he become, this hardened, focused turtle that's now bigger, faster, and stronger? What did he do? How many, was he in the swamps of Dagobah trying to, take the Starfighter out and stuff like that?
Right.
Starfighter or the X-Wing, you know what I mean? What kind of training was he doing? Because he's all by himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. But yeah, absolutely. In the end, I do like the way that they held it off, because there's so many more possibilities of where this could go. Like there's so many guesses, especially with her holding Fugitoid's head. Like what's going to happen with that? Like, and you see that she's got prosthetic arms and legs. They move independently. You can see that she's using that prosthetic hand to actually crank the dial of the safe. So you know those are working.
Mm-hmm.
So has she become the new Donatello in mechanics? Like, can she actually build things herself?
Right.
You
So
know?
like, Michelangelo has been doing his own training of certain sorts. What has April O'Neil been doing? You know what I mean? Has she taken on is she taken maybe some of Donatello's writings and studies on certain stuff and educating herself? You know what I mean? So like the turtles are dead, but I think they're living in spirit in these books. You know what I mean? It's going through Michelangelo and April O'Neil. It's going through Casey. You know what I mean? She's doing as much as she can to self-teach herself all these methods. This was a good comment right here that I highlighted for a second. So this is like yet another thing that I didn't think about of Miller's Ronin book. So that's sort of like another homage if you can really think about it. So that was a really good comment. Thank you for that comment, Louis 13th. This is a homage in a way, I think, too. I just want to bring this up real quick, but this totally looks like the legendary Muhammad Ali photo.
Oh yeah, where he's in the ring and he's got that pose with the boxing gloves.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I was like, yeah, that totally is an Easter egg right there. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna be what's going to be for the future with April and with the helmet. So let's see. What is Confound Strange saying? I think Mikey will eventually not be considered a freak at the end. The mountain people treated him as one, and in the end, he'll be a legend and accepted. Okay, I like that.
Okay, so you notice the page that you just showed, the one where he's got the Muhammad Ali look to it, like he's victorious over his enemies. Did you notice the Thunderdome style background?
Let me pick up. Wrong page. Damn it. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do see that.
See all the hands coming through the.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It gives me that good old, Road Warrior, Mad Max kind of feel of Thunderdome. And man, that's just I saw that the other day and I was like, man, that reminds me of something. And that's exactly what it reminds me of is Thunderdome.
Yeah, good catch. Yeah. So like so now that we got the breakdown out of the way, let's talk about some of the likes and dislikes about this book. And you can go first. Just blurt it out. What are some of your likes? And if you have any dislikes, let me know.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna start off with the dislikes.
Okay.
So one of my dislikes from the very first issue leading into this issue was actually finding out who the last Ronin was. Like I really thought we were gonna hold out.
Okay.
Not until like issue 3 that we find out. It was a shock that you found out that it was Michelangelo right at the last page. Right? But in reading this, I can see why they needed to progress the story, knowing that it is Michelangelo. You know what I mean? It's either that or the reveal would have came in this issue, instead of prolonging it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the only other issues. One of the other issues is that, I'm paying $8.99 for a book that is oversized, and I want it to be longer. It's just me being selfish and wanting more of the story. That's my only other gripe about it. But the things that I did like about it is I do like the dialogue. The dialogue between Casey and Michelangelo was amazing, and a lot of the excerpts that we had from April O'Neil, even pointing out the mutation, like when you look at him, he looks beefier,
Yeah, he does
you
look
know.
beefy.
And so I wouldn't have caught that, had I just thought that that's probably how they,
How the
because
artist draws him.
yeah, just how they draw them, but like they point it out. And so these conversations that they're actually having with each other is one of the best things that they could have done in this issue, because it gives you a lot of insight into what is going on. We wouldn't have known any of the substrates that are happening with the city, how they're divided into those three types of worlds. We wouldn't have known a lot of things. Like they could have just been one bang dang, done.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just been all action this issue and nothing else. But it brought a lot of substance to the characters. You see how starry-eyed Casey is, and you could really feel that with the way that she's talking to Michelangelo.
Yeah.
And so I love the dialogue. And the thing that I love the most out of this book was absolutely the part where he was in the mountain. I keep bringing it back to that mountain because I want to freaking know more about it. But I wanted to be drawn by Eastman the whole entire time. That black and white feel to it, that grittiness, that just the way that Eastman draws. There's no mistaking. Like when you see an Eastman cover, you're like, that's Eastman. Like there's no doubt about it.
Style, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's his style. And so I love that Eastman was able to, take it back and do it black and white. And so I would love to see more, a lot more pages with his drawings in it, because it just, he's the co-creator along with Laird. Like I'd really like to see a lot of that stuff more. So.
Yeah, so those were some of your likes and dislikes. I have somewhat of a opposite of opinion on yours. So
Okay.
with I have one dislike about this book, and everything else is just gravy for me. So again, going to an opposite feel, my dislike about this whole book is actually the black and white part.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so I love, of course, Eastman's work, but I think the black and white part is nice because you obviously know that it's a memory, it's a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot going on with Eastman's artwork and like stuff that I didn't pick up on it because it looks messy to me. And so like when you said like about the battle dome in the back, like I didn't even pick that up. You know what I mean? I knew there's people on the ground, there's opponents on the ground, and he's fighting people, but I didn't notice the whole battle dome part. So I mean, thank you so much for pointing that out, because now it makes more sense to me. You know what I mean? But I think the Kevin Eastman part is a little too muddled for me, and it was a hard transition from this very colorful, clean artwork to this very I don't want to say the word like dirty, like, but a gritty black and white artwork. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that was a hard thing for me to go from one to the other, and that's just me.
Right. And I think more than anything, this was just fan service for a lot of us that have, where we've done nothing but read a lot of these, first volume TMNTs, where that's all it is black and white, gritty, Oh,
You know what, Count? That comment right there, that's a great comment, because you know what? If that was sort of the feel and vibe that they were going for, because his memory is muddled as well, I can dig that. But maybe it could have been a little bit clearer for me to kind of see the bigger picture. I just want to point out real quick, Remy Q Studios with the super chat, man. Dude, you've been on fire, man. Remy Q Studios is like the MVP of Superpower Review, dude. He's in every single live stream. He is constantly dropping links in the chat to your channel, my guest's channel, and anybody who's in the chat. So, man, thank you so much for everything you do, man. That A-OK I sent you, dude, well deserved. So that was my only thing that I disliked about this book. But with the story continuing to grow, to seeing Michelangelo, the underdog, in my opinion, of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles becoming, something way bigger than he's ever been. Seeing a new character, Casey Jones, the daughter of April O'Neil, very cool. I'm actually kind of shocked that this book didn't like blow up even more, because like it's her, like maybe her first full appearance, or maybe her last issue was the cameo appearance. I don't know. I'm actually kind of shocked that didn't happen, but everything that sold me with this book was backstory, man. Seeing Raph in action before he went down for the count was everything I needed to see as a TMNT fan and as a Raph fan. I think that was, like I said in the beginning of the live stream, seeing him go that way, in his eyes, would be an honorable death, was a beautiful thing to see. What you pointed out, with no word bubbles or no dialogue while he died underwater, and just seeing that size slowly go down, being taken by the water, and him being taken by the water, just being lost into the abyss, that was poetic and crazy, because it really tugs at the heartstrings, like you said. And so, like, everything about this issue, everything about this series tugs on the heartstrings for me. And that's why I just absolutely love this story, man. It's everything that's been putting into the story, with, Michelangelo going through the ranks again, becoming bigger than what he really is, and doing it almost alone without his brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like, that is absolutely one of the best likes that I've had about this whole series. Is it's just continuously, good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, some one shot or whatever. Like, it's an actually good story. And, I think, like we were talking about before, I do believe this is going to be one of those things that once it's said and done, when people are like, hey, I'm, trying to pick up TMNT, where should I start? People are immediately going to go Last Ronin.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. This is another thing where, not to bring up the Dark Knight Returns again. I know James has left already, but he's going to be, stop talking about Batman. I think that's going to be the same thing. Like, hey, like, I want to start reading Batman. What are the top 5 Batman stories I want to read? Same thing with TMNT. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to say Last Ronin. I feel like that the Last Ronin is our generation of the Dark Knight Returns. There's just so much to compare to it. I can't help but do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you shouldn't be able to do so. I mean, you should do it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the hard review now. Okay. So as you all know, it is tradition here on Superpower Review to give a review based off of a CGC grade. So Panda, with everything that you had said today, what would be your CGC grade for The Last Ronin issue number 2?
With the backstory of Raphael, that really put it over the top for me, because seeing the way that he went out was absolutely the way that we all think, if one of the turtles ever died, how would they die? Raphael, that seems so like him. That was his character. That was absolutely beautiful the way he went out.
To a T.
To a T. So for me, 9.8.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the story's not perfect. It's not a mint. We're getting there. We've got the sharp corners with the story, but I mean, this issue itself was a 9.8 for me.
Yeah. I mean, so with everything that I've said, with the Kevin Eastman artwork, it's not enough for me to make this book a 9.6. This story is just so good. This book was so good. I still have to give it a 9.8. Like I said, I don't think that whole that part where I did not like what the Kevin Eastman art was not enough to downgrade it. 9.8 for me all day. Absolutely love the storyline. I will say it like I said in my last review. This is one of the best TMNT stories to read right now, and I think it's going to be definitely for the ages in the future, for sure. Just like you said.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree, man.
So we got 9.8s across the board. So you gave this issue a 9.8, and I just want to see what your mind is at. Did you give, if you were to give a CGC grade to the first issue, would you give it a 9.8 as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Could there have been some things that were done? Yeah, absolutely. But you're trying to tell the story from the, not from the beginning, but it looks like we're already starting at the end.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We're showing the end already. So how do you tell a story going backwards? Right. And so I think they did really well with it. Absolutely did a phenomenal job with hooking the reader and trying to keep them guessing on which turtle it is. I mean, for us that are big TMNT fans, like, we're constantly guessing. Like, we don't want to skip to the very end. Like, this isn't one of those R.L. Stine books where it's choose your own ending kind of thing. Like, you flip to the end and just find out what the ending is already. Like, this is one where I wanted to analyze every single page and be like, no, it sounds like Raphael. No, it can't be Donatello because, the way that he said this, or, he would have said it in a different way. Like,
right.
there was just so much analysis in that first issue. But yeah, I loved it to death. I mean, me being a big TMNT fan, like, there was no way that I couldn't love it.
Right.
Even if it was a crappy story, I'd probably try to hype it up just because I am that TMNT fan. But, being truthful, like, this is such a good story. I think everybody should be able to catch on to it, and I can't wait for it to come out in trade, because I think that would be a lot easier for people to swallow that story.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. I mean, so, like, if you don't want to wait the long periods of time, and if you're not too crazy about hype, you know what I mean? I think waiting for the trades would be a good idea. Then you can just, read the whole thing whenever you please. So yeah, I would agree with that. But I think I'm a big enough fan where, like, I do want to pick these up. You know what I mean? But like you said, if you're not, like, so crazy about turtles and you're interested but not interested enough to pick it off the shelves when they do have the release date, I totally support what you say and just pick up the trade.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Anything else you want to say about this issue?
I loved it.
Yeah. I think after today's review, actually, I'll probably read the first issue one more time and read this again. And I'll probably do the same thing once the third issue comes out too. Like, I'll just continue to read it and read it and read it.
Yeah, and with as much time has been passing, like, that's the only thing I can do in anticipation for this second issue. I just kept reading that first issue, and I must have read that at least, and I'm not even joking when I say I read it at least 20 times. Like, I was that excited for it. And I'm probably going to do the same with the second issue going into the third. I'm probably going to read it like 20 more times, but adding that first issue. So, my wife's going to see me on the couch with just two
reading Ronin and eating a slice of pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make sure you wipe your hands before you turn the page.
Turn the page, wipe your hands.
Yes, I'm so happy you got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Yes, beautiful. All right, man. So we're an hour in. Before we wrap it up, why don't you tell the good people who are watching right now what you got going on your channel?
On my channel right now, I usually do a live stream on Sundays called the Sunday Mail Call and Hangout, where I invite anybody to come hang out with me, because just like on Kevin's channel today, I love talking to the community. I love talking to other people that are like-minded. I love talking to people that are in this comic book community, or not even in this comic book community, and are just interested in it. Just come hang out with me. It's a fun time. I open up usually things that I get through the mail. I get 1 or 2 or maybe sometimes 20 things in the mail.
Crazy.
But yeah, this Thursday I'll be on Burke Family 54's channel, like I am usually on every Thursday, except this Thursday is going to be a little different. We've got a live auction going on Thursday, so come by, check out the books that we have. I know I'm going to have a set of Last Ronin going up for sale, because I love the story so much. I want people to get it in their hands and I'll be selling it for way cheaper than you'll be able to find it on eBay.
Nice. Cool, man. Hey, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, buddy. It was so much fun. You were the perfect guest to have on today's show, for real.
Oh, I'm very honored. I'm very honored. Thank you.
No problem, man. No, thank you for stepping up to the plate. Guys, if you are not subscribed to Pandawesome316 yet, please do so after this live stream. Again, a link to his channel is in this video's description down below. So, guys, that's going to do it for today's live stream. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would have loved to have done this video in the studio, but the studio has been crazy. I haven't been able to schedule time in the studio, but I will be back in the studio very soon. So guys, don't forget to smash that like button if you like anything that was said in today's video. And if you guys are watching this on the rewind, please let us know in the comment section what you thought about The Last Ronin issue number 2. And if you guys are new here to the channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button and enter our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm Kevin Vidini for Superpower Review, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.